What's up, guys? This is Christian, and on this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my experiences with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. And I'll explain to you the difference between the three for the people that don't know yet what the difference is. So, just as a disclaimer, I am not an expert on cryptocurrency. And what I'm just sharing with you is my experience and my limited knowledge about it. And I'll just try to put it in layman's terms so that the people that want to invest in it or the people that are maybe invested in it just want to learn a little bit more, maybe can pick up something from this video. So let's start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, its unique property is that it is created by a pseudonym, Satoshi Nakamoto. Nobody knows who created it. And it's out there, it's totally decentralized, and currently, as we speak, it's still being mined at a decreasing rate. And there will be a limited supply of 21 million at the end of the mining. Because of that, the value will keep going up. That's what I like about the Bitcoin, is that it's completely decentralized. The government can't chase anyone and say they want to stop Bitcoin, because how can they? Bitcoin is everywhere. Everyone has it. It's not like it's sitting in one bank or anything like that, or in one server or in one mining company. And because of that, it's unstoppable. And that's what I like about Bitcoin. I want to talk about what's happening with Bitcoin right now and the halvening. And during that time, when I bought Bitcoin, I was so excited because I knew the halvening was happening in May 2020. What no one anticipated was the COVID-19. And I think I'm not alone with this belief or this theory that when there's a major catastrophe, calamity, or event that happens in the world, that the Bitcoin will shoot up. And I thought with the COVID-19, the Bitcoin's value was going to shoot up as a safe haven. Boy, was I wrong. It completely collapsed. It collapsed to as low as $4,000 at one point around March. And remember, this was going at a high of about $10,000 already for the last few months, and it collapsed to $4,000. I wanted to buy more Bitcoin. That's how confident I am with Bitcoin, even with its collapse. I didn't anticipate it going down, to be honest with you, but I thought it was a great buying opportunity. So now it's hovering at about $9,400, and I think it's still a great buy for people that want to invest in Bitcoin. Because the halvening, I thought, would really make the Bitcoin just skyrocket all the way up to about $20,000. And now looking at the past halvenings, that's where the amount of Bitcoins mined would cut in half. I looked at the past halvenings and then I realized it doesn't go up immediately. Most of the time, or the other times that it had a halvening, it actually went sideways. One time it actually dipped a little and then it went up. And then the big one was in 2017, or 2016, where it actually went sideways, and then it just went boom all the way to its all-time high, which is about, I think it was about $17,000 at that time. And then after that, it just dropped completely to 10,000. So what it's trying to show you is this. In this halvening, this thing will probably hit about $20,000 minimum by next year at the latest. And when it does, it'll probably go back down to about maybe $12,000, $13,000, $14,000. And then it'll maintain that and it'll go back up again. So there are opportunities to buy and sell at this point, as long as you have the emotional stability to do it, because most people get rattled by the dips and then they sell on the dips versus buying on the dips. And if you have the emotional stability and fortitude to be able to hold and sell when it's a high, at least a momentary high, and then buy when it's a momentary low, then you can make good money from that type of investment. But for the most part, what I advise most people to do is to just hold on. If you're not savvy and emotionally stable that way, just hold on for a 10-year period. Make it a long-term investment, because after keeping it for 10 years, trust me, you're going to see some growth in it. Let's talk about Ethereum now. What I like about Ethereum and why it's different from Bitcoin. First, Ethereum was created by a known entity. Somebody by the name of, I just hope I don't butcher his name, Vitalik Buterin. And at that time, I think he started thinking about it when he was only 18. And it started in 2014. But he started as a skeptic of Bitcoin. He looked at it and he rejected it and eventually embraced the idea of the blockchain and cryptocurrency. And then he just improved on it. And that's when he came up with Ethereum. The unit of measurement of Ethereum is Ether, 1 Ether. And Ethereum, the difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin is that Ethereum has smart contracts attached to it. Meaning that for every transaction, there are certain things you can attach to it to make the transaction happen. So you can, let's say, buy a house and you can put all the conditions in place for that transaction to take place. And so the money will flow between two people without the need for any lawyers, accountants, any bank. And it will happen with the right conditions in place, with a smart contract fulfilling its role. So it's not dependent on any third party, and you can't put a TRO on it or a hold order to stop the transaction. That's the good thing and the scary part about it. But the great thing about it is it's out of the hands of human discretion or human interpretation. It is unimmutable in that sense and undisputable in that sense because nobody can change that transaction from happening. And that's what's the beauty of Ethereum. And Ethereum right now, I believe, is very, very cheap compared to what I believe the value will be. And now it's only at $230 US. So that's got a lot of growth ahead of it. And I think it'll go way beyond 1,700 or 1,800 US. I think it'll hit about $10,000 US eventually. So there's a huge upside to it. I'll tell you a story about Ethereum, which is really fantastic. I talk about cryptocurrency to anyone that wants to listen. And I am excited about Ethereum and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency that I keep blabbering about it. One friend of mine who was listening to me one day said, "You know, that name Ethereum sounds familiar. It's like I remember buying one." And then she goes, "Is there such a website as Binance?" I go, "Yes, there is." And she goes, "Oh my God, I think I did." So she looked into it. And then as she was trying to retrieve her password, she actually had a Binance account, retrieved her password and username. And when she opened it, she found out she had 120 Ethers. She bought at around 2015. She bought it for approximately $8 per Ether. So she only invested about $1,000. And in 2018, that $1,000 she invested in was worth about what? It was in pesos. So that $8 she bought at a price. So she bought at a price of $8 per Ether. Okay, she has 120 Ethers. And that thing went up to $1,700 per Ether. Can you imagine that return on investment? Wow, and she totally forgot about it. Today it's worth $230. So from $8 per Ether, she now has $230 per Ether. What a great return on her investment. I'm so happy for her. And she was so ecstatic. She thought she was in dreamland at that point. And the third currency I wanted to talk about, cryptocurrency I wanted to talk about, is XRP. This one was created by Ripple, the company Ripple. And the difference of XRP with the other two currencies is that XRP has 100 billion units. And it's already mined, completely mined. Everything's out there. And XRP is used for people that want to trade currencies because it is the fastest way to trade currencies from country to country with no need for an intermediary currency like the US dollar, which we use right now. But if you go through the US dollar to exchange to another currency, say in the Middle East or in Europe, it makes you lose money with the currency exchanges. XRP becomes that intermediary to make that exchange easier, faster, and cheaper. XRP is also used and preferred now by the banks when they're trading currencies between banks. So that is the unique selling proposition of XRP. And XRP doesn't use blockchain. They have their own. It's similar to a blockchain technology, but they call it the hash tree. So just imagine a tree with a trunk and all the leaves and the branches and the leaves sprouting out from it based on different transactions. That's kind of like how a hash tree works, or maybe upside down, where the roots start to grow and they develop little tiny roots and it just keeps growing and growing. That's what the hash tree is, and that's how it's different from Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that's the unique selling proposition of XRP. I like the unique selling propositions of all three cryptocurrencies. And those are the ones that I've invested in and researched on, which makes me comfortable investing in them. And I think XRP right now, because it's so cheap at only 19 or 20 cents US, it makes it a relatively profitable investment, I think, at that rate, because I believe it'll go up. Can you imagine it hitting $1 per XRP? Wow, the value of that. So all of these things combined leaves me to only one basic advice for everyone that wants to make an investment. That cryptocurrency, especially the big ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and possibly XRP. I don't know about XRP as much because I just started investing a little bit on it because I'm not that familiar with it as well. But my confidence in Bitcoin and Ether is pretty strong. So my advice to people that want to start investing is invest now in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And maybe a little bit in Ether if you want, or other cryptocurrencies that you should be familiar with. And just leave it there. And what we talk about is just hold or hodl, HODL, meaning hold on for dear life. And it's kind of like a funny term where you just hold on when you're riding in a roller coaster and watch it just fly. Or when you're on a jet plane or something, on a rocket, hold on for dear life and just watch out for it. Because when this thing explodes, and it has already, and those explosions are even small compared to where this is going to go. But what I do advise is this. This is such a young market or industry or technology that anything can happen. Much like how it was on the internet. Much like when people invested in Netscape. For the ones that don't know what that is, you can Google that. When they IPO'd and made billionaires of certain people, but it completely collapsed and it's nowhere in sight right now. And it's the third wave of entities that are now here for the long term. The Googles, the Facebooks. And those are the ones that are really making it big. They weren't the first ones. Remember, the first ones that came on board were the MySpace, the Friendster, and where are they now? They're non-existent. So, in the same sense, cryptocurrency is so at an infancy stage that could also happen. So what I would advise is invest whatever you can play with. Don't invest your life savings in it unless you truly believe in it and are willing to risk it. But invest what you can, because if it completely goes under, we don't know. But I'm confident it won't. But Bitcoin is the first. But I think the technology is so strong that I believe it's actually the start of that time when the internet started. This is that next revolution. But it could just be the first wave. Maybe the third wave could be the biggest one. So watch out for it, learn more about it. And if you're going to invest in it, hodl for the long term. Hope you guys learned something from this video. If you have and you like what you hear, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Chris Tan is here. Follow me as well on Instagram at I am Chris Tan. Take care, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.